the Roundball Rock Podcast, starring Dave Schilling, Elmore Smith, Walt Wesley, Joey Devine, Brian Winters, Dave Myers, Sean Keane, Junior Bridgman, musical guest Dr. John, and now the temporary host of Roundball Rock, Joey Devine.
Hi, it's me, Joey Devine, your temporary host of Roundball Rock, and we are back with a big trade edition of Roundball Rock. But before we talk about big trades, we need to talk about business. First off, you can always follow us at roundrockpod@gmail.com. On Twitter, email us at roundrockpod@gmail.com. Call us on the phone in the number in the description of this podcast. And if you think we're good and deserve to eat food, please give us money at patreon.com/roundrockpod. Also, we're doing a meetup at Summer League, July 8th, 9 p.m. At the Tillman Fertitta slot machines at the Golden Nugget. It is one of our dumber things, and we want every single person who listens to this dumb podcast to participate in our dumb act. Bring $5. We're going to take Tillman for all he's worth. Sean Keane, co-host, you're here.
I am.
Am I forgetting any business?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right, I tried to do it as succinctly as possible today.
That's really good. And also, when people go to the Patreon is really good, but you know they can find that on the website. They can find the tiers, but they're good.
Yeah,
they're good. We'll teaser. Less is more. You know what I'm saying?
No. What are you saying, Sean?
So we're giving them a tease, you know what I mean? We're giving them
just
the sizzle, but yeah, the steak is on the Patreon.
Yeah, a lot of great tiers. Should have some merch for you guys to see here shortly. Sean, how was your weekend?
It was good. My family was visiting. Weirdly, they were at a hotel in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So today I was hanging out at the pool, and it turned into a pool party.
A Hollywood pool party. Very cool. Very cool.
It appeared to be a lot of very mediocre, maybe rich guys, and then what seemed to be possibly Instagram models that had been invited by wealthy people. I didn't see anyone doing cocaine, but there was like an aggressive cocaine vibe in general. Anyway, I heard a lot of DJs.
You know who has an aggressive cocaine vibe?
Who's that?
Rob Pelinka. Let's talk about a trade.
Oh, nice.
Trades. That's right, we're talking about trades.
/capspace URLs, you remember we talk about capspace all the time in the program. /capspace. Let them know that you came from us. Limited time only. Terms apply.
Protected pics.
You can even create a beautiful website while listening to this podcast. Over 140 million people choose Wix to create their website. Create yours today. That's Wix.com/Woj, W-O-J, to get 10% off.
Rights to euros that are never coming.
Enter code NBA at checkout for $20 off your first order.
Expiring salaries.
If you missed it, we launched the Recapables Billions podcast on our Recapables feed.
Treating people like they're assets and not people.
ZipRecruiter.com/low post, LOWE post. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Even robots know that basketball is a business, so players shouldn't have feelings because of business. Trades.
Sean, Anthony Davis is a Laker.
Oh my God. Who would have predicted this?
Not me. I assumed he was going to the Boston Celtics because
Yeah,
that
me
is what I've been hearing at every Panera Bread for the last 3 years.
I mostly eat at Chipotle, but I also heard that a lot there. Here's the thing. Has any team done a better job of acquiring assets just waiting for their big move than the Boston Celtics?
No.
And yet, okay, here's what I've heard about this trade. First of all, Rich Paul basically said he hated the city of Boston. Anthony Davis would play there reluctantly for a year and then leave immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. But also, Danny Ainge was waiting for the absolute correct moment to push his chips to the center of the table. And that moment was when...
was 3 years ago when Paul George was available.
Well, I think he was actually just waiting for one of Jason Tatum's parents to be diagnosed with a fatal disease. They'd send him packing. Get out of here, Jason Tatum. No one wants you with your relatives with illness or whatever.
I mean, you'd think they would have traded him after tweeting about how much he loves St. Louis.
Right.
But I guess his family is still alive, so...
It's interesting because I haven't really seen Bill Simmons tweet about the Boston Bruins recently, so I don't think the city of Boston, their king, wasn't invested in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Did you see who told Bill Simmons about the Anthony Davis trade?
I did not.
No, it was Louis K. Louis C.K.'s disgraced PR man tweeted that he's the one who found out about the trade and was hanging out with old BS. I assume Ben Shapiro was also there. It was a double BS situation.
Yeah. Does he have a regular Ringer podcast now?
Yeah, he and the Krasensteins. It's called "Gotta Hear Both Sides."
That's pretty good. The Replorables. God damn it! What are they doing? What are you doing with Ben Shapiro, Ringer? Come on, man. I bet Ben Shapiro has some strong opinions about the Harry Potter books, though. So that should be, I don't know, 19 to 20 different podcasts, right? That he could be on.
100%. Yeah. So I guess we should explain the trade. Sean, do you want to explain the trade?
Yeah,
here?
let me give you the raw materials.
How
to this
many
trade.
people that are actually good at basketball did the Lakers get Anthony Davis for? 1.5?
Yeah, so the players they traded were Brandon Ingram, the number 2 pick in the draft.
Sometimes good at basketball.
Yeah, he was the number 2 pick in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 pick in 2017, Lonzo Ball.
Uh-huh.
And then everybody's favorite reserve combo guard and former national champion, Josh Hart.
Oh, he was terrible last year.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Joey.
Lonzo was the only one who had a good year last year, and he was injured for all but 25 games.
I'm not even sure Lonzo's stats were all that great.
If you look at his analytics, they were good. He was pretty good. He has very Ricky Rubio-esque stats where it's like, wow, the team is a lot better when he plays, but it doesn't seem like it. You know what I mean?
So Josh Hart averaged 7.8 points per game in his 26 minutes, slightly down from his 7.9 points per game as a rookie. He shot 40% from the field, 33% from 3. Now, granted, he did shoot 40% from 3 as a rookie, but not a great season for Josh Hart. Now, he is 23 years old, and in theory, he's a good defender. He's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Also, his nickname is Josh Barkley somehow.
What?
I don't know.
We need to do that, actually. Let's look at... Yeah. So you're on the Josh Hart page?
Yeah, I'll do Brandon Ingram. You look up Lonzo's nickname. Okay, Brandon Ingrams are incredible, so you should go first.
All right. Lonzo Ball's nicknames, according to basketballreference.com, are just Zoe. Just
Okay.
Zoe.
Brandon Ingram has 3 nicknames. I'm going to assume that at least this first one is primarily from his Chinese fans.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny Dog.
Great.
His second nickname is Humble Beast.
Mm-hmm.
And then his third nickname is Slenderman.
What?
The murderous mythical figure who started off as a Photoshop on the Something Awful forums and became a real-life source of real-life murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was... I guess not murder, attempted murder.
Right.
I believe the Slenderman victim did survive.
Adnan Syed has murdered more people than Slenderman, actually.
That's true. That's true. Brandon Ingram, now granted, we
should do a podcast about exonerating Slenderman.
Man. Adnan did it, not Slenderman.
Slenderman, I've been talking to Slenderman on the phone.
Uh-huh.
And he can't remember what he did that day, but he's pretty sure it wasn't murder.
Uh-huh. And if you check the records of Slenderman's cell phone, you know, those triangulating him, it doesn't make sense, the journey he made. Why would he kill his ex-girlfriend? That never happens. So Brandon Ingram did average 18 points a game as a 21-year-old. He missed 30 games, I believe, with deep vein thrombosis, which is, that's blood clots.
Right. It's also, I believe, a band that Steve Albini produced in the middle 90s.
Yeah, DVT.
Yeah.
The demos are dark. And actually, Brandon Ingram, I would say, did seem to play well when LeBron James was hurt and poorly when he was on the court with LeBron James. Anecdotally, I don't know if the stats hold that out. He seems like a guy who likes to have the ball in his hands and create. Now, granted, still only 21 years old. However, will be a restricted free agent in 1 year.
Okay, so the Lakers got these 3. I mean, the Pelicans got these 3
those
players.
3 guys. Yeah.
Did they get anything else?
They did, Joey. They got the number 4 pick in this year's draft, a draft that is 1.5 players deep. Well, actually, you know what? 2 players deep. I think Ja Morant's going to be good.
I think, yeah, that sounds right to me.
He seems he has like such off the chart stats that I feel like him playing at Murray State didn't really like. I just think he's good. And then so they have the number 4 pick in the draft. They have their pick in 2021 is top 8 protected, but the other way. So
what?
It is top 8. So if it's 1 through 8, it goes to New Orleans. If it's 9 through 30, it stays with the Lakers, and the Pelicans receive an unprotected 2022 pick.
That's a sick trade.
And then
that's all they got, right?
Part of it is so tight. Well,
that's all they got, right?
No, they actually in 2023 they have an unprotected pick swap, so they can just trade picks with the Lakers.
Okay.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, then that's all they got, right?
They also got an unprotected 2024 first round pick.
Unprotected?
Unprotected. Just wherever it is, New Orleans gets it no matter what, and they keep their pick.
Okay, and that's all they got, right?
Well, actually, Joey, in 2025, there's also an unprotected pick swap.
2025?
2025. 6 years from now, no matter what happens, the Pelicans get the better of their first-round pick and the Lakers pick. LeBron James will be 48 years old at that point, right?
So Bronny will be in the league.
Bronny will be in the league. And this actually could prevent the Lakers from getting Bronny, actually.
What if the Pelicans get Bronny with one of these picks?
It would be so good. There's no other, like, NBA children about to join the league, right? Oh, actually, isn't Scottie Pippen's kid pretty good right now?
Well, Shaq's kid is in this draft, isn't he? Sharif?
Oh yeah, I guess he is.
Or maybe he's in next year's.
I think he's going to be in next year's draft. He was in such a weird situation because Arizona got into trouble.
Yeah, and then it kept seeming like he was going to come to UCLA and then just never did.
I think he played at UCLA last year. Did he?
I don't remember. We don't know anything about college basketball. Why are we doing this to ourselves?
He had a medical red shirt last year because he had a heart condition.
Well, that's not good.
But he's okay now. He just I mean, who knows? That's kind of scary, but yeah, apparently no one noticed that heart condition until he got to UCLA, but he was cleared to return to the team 3 months ago. So
maybe he's now using his dad's CPAP machine.
That's true. Yeah, I mean he also has a life insurance policy with the General. So
yeah, that's good.
Hopefully.
Icy Hot wasn't fixing his heart problem though.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sharif O'Neal will be the number 1 pick in 2020. You know what? He looks a little pudgy, I have to say, in this Wikipedia photo, but it could just be the tuck of his jersey.
So here's my question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
Does David Griffin, did he not read that Vice piece about how the world is going to end from global warming?
Yeah, I mean that's what like Rob Pelinka, that's why he's a deep thinker. Like, not only is he maximizing on the end of LeBron James's prime, but the Staples Center is going to be underwater by 2023. Right. And also, I guess probably the Pelicans will be too. So
we don't talk about that. Didn't you see Bob Ryan's tweet?
You know what?
Very, very offensive.
I'm gonna take that back. They're gonna be fine. They will be protected by Voodoo. Nicolas Cage's. They could just play on Nicolas Cage's enormous grave. To be honest, it's very big. People hate that grave so much in New Orleans, by the way.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
So, and the Lakers did they get more people for this, or?
No, just Anthony Davis.
Do you want to know his basketball reference nicknames?
Oh, yes, please.
All right. Unibrow, of course.
That's yeah. It seems like his emphasis on the brow.
Well, that's the next one.
Oh, okay. But it seems like it's trying to make people not say unibrow.
The brow.
Mm-hmm.
AD. And then finally, this one is going to blow your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Fat man with a PH.
Did they get that nickname from like the front of his like peachy folder?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what. This episode is now called The Phatman Cometh.
That's incredible.
Fat man with a PH. So, it means he's cool. He's dope.
We've brought this up before. The brow is a terrible, terrible nickname.
It's the worst. It's the worst branding possible.
And he's like leaned into it so hard. And even when you think about other, like if you're talking about like phrases you could use in a sports headline, all I can think is browbeaten, which is what happens when he loses. You know what I mean? How now, brow? I don't even know. Joey, which of these assets do you like the best?
Well, not the number 4 pick.
Right.
I mean, comically, I like not wanting the anything but the top 8 picks in 2021.
It's such a funny element.
Obviously, it's the 2025 unprotected pick swap is what I want.
It's so tight. It's so tight. I think that Brandon Ingram fits what you want in an Anthony Davis trade. I just wish he was not facing restricted free agency so soon.
I'm not a big Brandon Ingram guy. I like Ball the best of the players they got. I still have faith that Lonzo's going to be good.
Brandon Ingram, I would just say, is so young. I don't know. I mean, it just feels like you're always going to be on the short end when you make a trade like this at all. Just because, like, you're trading what is he, 26?
Brandon, who? Sorry.
Anthony Davis, sorry.
Anthony Davis is 26 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're trading a 26-year-old superstar, it's like all you really want is like lottery tickets, basically.
Right.
You know? It's not like you're like, oh, if we could just get like a veteran glue guy to add here. So I mean, like, whereas I do not particularly believe in Brandon Ingram myself, I like the idea of adding a 21-year-old who scored 18 points a game.
Sure.
And is seemingly good at defense.
He's not.
I don't
he doesn't
really
weigh
see it.
enough.
But I keep hearing that. But and hey, with a blood clot problem, hasn't derailed any Slender Man framed forwards recently.
This
right?
is a little bit like Slender Man being traded for Slender Man, though. You know what I mean?
It is, right? Yeah, like a real spooky frame. By the way, can I read you a Rich Paul quote about people saying that Anthony Davis that like the desire to have him in LA was just Rich Paul. He says, everybody wants to fabricate the facts when it's me. That's like saying, no, A-Rod, don't marry J-Lo. Are you out of your fucking mind, man? This is Jennifer Lopez. I mean, who would you rather me marry? The Lakers or Jennifer Lopez? You don't want me to date Jennifer Lopez? Give me a reason I shouldn't date J-Lo. So Rich Paul, a little bit horny for J-Lo.
Well, also, I would say the last time the Lakers were good was also when J-Lo was also at her peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's weird that the comparison he gives is like why wouldn't you marry J-Lo? And the answer would probably be she's 50 years old.
Not that
Not that we're not being ageist.
J-Lo is hot as shit. I'd marry her in a second.
Great. And A-Rod should marry her.
Yes, A-Rod and J-Lo is actually my favorite celebrity couple.
It's a beautiful celebrity couple.
Yeah.
However, if you're 26 years old, maybe you don't want to lock yourself in forever for someone who may have seen their best days already. That's all I'm saying. But also, J-Lo is going to get it done for the next few years, for sure.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
And that is something I want to talk about, actually.
Yeah.
We should talk about this. Look, this is the best possible haul you could get for Anthony Davis, right?
Yeah, it feels like I'm not criticizing Rob Pelinka because getting Anthony Davis rules
means you won the
no
trade.
matter what you give it. Yeah. But it does also kind of feel like when like a 20-year-old forward would go up against like Cliff Robinson in the post, and he'd just keep pulling the chair on him and drawing offensive fouls and stuff. That's like David Griffin's veteran move. Like he really couldn't have gotten this deal done without all those pick swamps.
Well, and
it was just like, yeah.
It's a little bit like, again, we use this a lot. But David Griffin was a little bit like being Shadow Link in the Ocarina of Time, fighting Link, because no one knows how many first round draft picks you have to trade when you're running a LeBron James team. You know what I mean?
Right. And I mean I can see how in the short term, like obviously this number 4 pick, the Pelicans seem to be shopping it already. But to a team that has LeBron James, like players who are it's Anthony Davis might be a little too young for LeBron, to be honest. Like he likes his teammates seasoned and old. But yeah, like what are you doing drafting a 19-year-old and pairing him with LeBron James right now and being like, we got you some help, LeBron? It's like you have an amazing player, even though he's old, but do you think LeBron's not going to be a top 10 player next year, Joey?
I don't know. To me, people are getting a little bit in the weeds that the last LeBron they saw was December LeBron, and December LeBron is not LeBron. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the last time he was on the Cavs that made the finals, in December they were also bad, and then they made a bunch of trades at the deadline. And the trades didn't really matter. It was more LeBron started playing hard.
Yeah.
Around February. That's what happens. And
I mean,
even not playing hard, he still averaged like 28, 8 and 8 or whatever.
Oh, last year?
Yeah.
And, the team was pretty bad when he came back from his injury this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know. I kind of feel like he was taking this year off anyway. Because he had to produce $1 Million Mile. He had to get 2 episodes on the air. He had to hook up his good friend Tim Tebow and what appear to be 12 to 24 fake American gladiators.
Now here's a question for you, Sean. Currently in Vegas, the Lakers are the favorite to win the title next year.
Oh, win the NBA title
next
year.
Do you think that is correct?
I can't think of who. Okay, well, on one hand, I'm like, well, this was a pretty bad team last year. Anthony Davis's team was also not very good last year. But the problem is that anyone that I would think would be like, there are certainly arguments that I think that the Toronto Raptors would certainly be better, but who's to say that Kawhi Leonard will be on the team next year?
Right.
And I feel like you get the same thing going down the line of like, well, who's even going to be on the Bucks? Who's going to be on the Sixers? What are the Warriors going to do? And so you look at the Western Conference and it's like, I kind of think unless they completely fuck up, and even then, you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So I think some of that is probably, the Lakers being a public team, but also I don't know who I would necessarily pick above them.
Yeah, I keep seeing a lot of people, a lot of like dunked on style takes about this, where it's like, it's the same thing. Look, the whole reason we created Slammed Up was because one night I was super mad about how they were talking about DeMarcus Cousins being added to the Warriors. And it is very easy to get stuck in your brain about hypotheticals when really, if you look at the history of the NBA, teams with 2 top 20 players make the finals and usually win them.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, if you're betting against this, you are, thinking that
LeBron is washed.
I don't even think LeBron is washed, but just that. I mean, look, it's way too early to tell because they have a very good chance at getting a max level free agent to come in. Because right now there are 5 people on the Lakers roster. So,
right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Is there anyone else who's restricted? I'm not sure.
It's
but yeah, it's
LeBron, Anthony Davis, Kyle Kuzma, Mo Wagner, Isaac Bonga, and possibly Alex Caruso.
Yeah, I don't really know his contract status, but he is a hero, a summer league hero. So, it's whatever you think about Rob Pelinka, he will be able to answer the phone and offer, Jimmy Butler or Kemba Walker a max contract if they call him.
He doesn't have max money yet, though, Sean, and now people are mad at Rob Pelinka for this, which again is more annoying dunked on basketball shit like too in the weeds. We are too in the weeds with stuff like this.
Yeah,
and again, Rob Pelinka sucks. I want to make it clear. I want nothing more than for the Lakers to continue being a hilarious clown show. But usually, when you put two guys together, people just show up. Like,
yeah. I mean, it depends on who they get, but like there are certainly teams I could see beating them.
Oh, for sure.
Like I would, when Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson got injured, I'm sure Daryl Morey probably rethought his plan of trading his entire roster. Now look, I have to say, Magic Johnson has weighed in, and he said, "Great trade, Rob Pelinka. Job well done." And nobody knows basketball like Irvin Magic Johnson. So, yeah. He also said, "Laker Nation, you wanted the great Jeannie Buss to step up and bring a championship team back to LA, and she's doing just that." And I gotta say, props to Jeannie Buss for making it happen.
For sure, dude.
And also
again,
yeah. Go ahead.
We are not rooting for these people. We are rooting for hilarious shit. And unfortunately, this is just what happens with the Lakers. Every year they get fucking bailed out.
Either by the draft lottery or free agency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was, this doesn't happen if they don't pick second 3 times and then get the 4th pick in the draft. But Joey, who do you think deserves the most credit for this move? Because I definitely have a theory.
Rich Paul.
Look, he deserves a fair amount of credit, but I think you got to give props to shadow owner Linda Rambis. She told him to get the deal done. She said, "I don't care how many pick swaps it is. This is what you need to do, Jeannie."
Mm-hmm.
And Jeannie,
in that case,
stopped running her 5-minute set for the Ice House in Pasadena, and she did it.
Oh well, and in that case, we also need to congratulate shadow benefactor Phil Jackson and shadow benefactor Kurt Rambis as well.
I also think we need
shadow coach Jason Kidd,
and I also think shadow boyfriend / legitimate out in the open joke stealer Jay Moore. So congratulations, Gary unmarried himself.
Oh, you mean Morris Divorced? That show is called Morris Divorced.
Morris Divorced. Yeah, I mean, I think they will get good players. Now, granted, they probably will not get like a tremendous amount of depth, but you just, last year they got a free Tyson Chandler and it didn't turn out to work out that well. But it's like, the two of the young guys they traded were hurt all year anyway. So it's like, I don't know. I fully expect that they will draw a lot of veteran minimum ring chaser types.
For sure.
Now look,
I guarantee Trevor Ariza is coming.
Yeah, that's a good bet, Joey. But, Trevor Ariza is also 34. It's definitely high risk. Like, they're not going to have a lot of depth. They will struggle if anyone has a nagging injury. But also, LeBron is the king of load management. I'm sorry, Kawhi Leonard, you're close to the title. But I just don't expect either of those guys to play more than, like, 65 games, 70 games.
Right.
And I just think like it seems like such a lock 50-win team.
Right.
Barring like no again, if Anthony Davis like really gets hurt or LeBron really gets hurt, it could be trouble, but I just think it's going to be an easy 50 wins, and that means they will be rested for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And again, if something happens to one of those two guys, they're in trouble. But if nothing happens to one of those two guys, they're in very good shape. almost regardless who else is around them.
Now, what if they spend their money? What if AD changes his mind and gives them their $4 million back?
Okay, the trade kicker. So then they
have another max. Or, you know how else they could get to a max? Just trading Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga. They could also do that by doing that.
And there's the reason they would have to wait a month is because of the pick.
Yes, it's the salary of the 4th round pick. Gets it to a max.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they should just. I have a feeling that they will choose a max contract over Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga, who I think was the youngest player in the league last year, if he counted as being in the league. So
they could also trade Kyle Kuzma. I know apparently Genie doesn't want that.
Now they don't really have any guards at all on the roster, but
Bonga's a guard. Caruso's a guard.
Yeah, I guess Alex Caruso is the starting point guard if the season started right now.
That would be so fucking sick. I want that. Alex Caruso rules, dude.
Is there any chance that Kyrie Irving comes and joins this Lakers team, Joe?
No, he's already in Brooklyn.
I don't really think that. What about, who do you think the max free agent, they have said that they want to target Kemba Walker, who would be a tremendous addition to the team. Who do you think is, do you think Kemba is the most likely one to go?
I don't like Kemba there, though, actually. Kemba needs the ball too much.
So you would not be, you actually would not focus on a max guy, right?
No, I would spend that money. Look, having watched the top-heavy Golden State Warriors, and look, I get it, they won a bunch of championships, but I would have preferred. I'm not preferred. That's also wrong than winning the championships. But I think you're a lot better off spending that money if you have two guys as good as these two guys, on higher priced role players. Get 5 guys. You know what I mean?
So who are you thinking?
I don't have the free agent list up.
Who knows? But now we had sarcastically picked the oldest guys possible that we could have. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, they actually could get some good minutes out of Darren Collison. He'd probably be
Darren Collison would be great.
But if I may be wrong about this, but it seems like there are a lot of centers and a lot of point guards available.
I mean, I would go for JJ Redick, Brooke Lopez, or Julius Randle, I guess. I mean, I'm not big on Julius Randle. Boyan. I think Boyan would be an excellent ad.
If he can pry him away from the Pacers.
Yeah, but imagine if around Anthony Davis you put Boyan and JJ and then Darren Collison, and that's your starting 5.
Yeah, it's great. And you could probably do that for the same amount of money that it's going to take to get Kemba Walker.
Right. And then still have a mid-level to work with. Yeah,
and JJ Redick, I mean, bonus family. That's incalculable.
And then you add Ariza and Wes Matthews and those guys that are definitely going there anyway. You know what I mean?
Right. Wes Matthews avenging his father's time. Actually, his father was a good player in Los Angeles. He's not avenging anything. But yeah, I think there is a ton of money to spend, but there are a lot of free agents, and I think the Lakers are going to be able to pick fairly well from the guys around them. Now, granted, all of this could very much change. Kawhi goes to the Clippers. Clippers are probably better than the Lakers. I don't even know, actually, now that I've said that out loud, if I believe that.
I don't believe that.
They're probably going to have a better regular season
deeper team.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you win championships in general. by having
the best player in a series.
yeah. And I mean the Raptors did have the best player in the series now.
Absolutely.
In this finals. Now,
The
granted,
Raptors
they
had the
also-
best player in the series in every series they played.
Yeah, they did. And they did have a extraordinary amount of depth. They had 8 guys who could play defense and shoot threes, which is pretty amazing. Like I don't know if there's been a team like that exactly. I guess that's
Last year's Rockets.
I get, but
I
like
was
Clint
being
Capella-
sarcastic.
Oh yeah, sorry. I really think that LeBron is going to be able to coast a fair amount.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I would be optimistic about the Lakers. Now, granted, I don't think this was a bad trade at all for New Orleans because this is not like a super long window. But all the same, I wouldn't be like that shocked if an Anthony Davis centered Lakers team continued to prosper. I do kind of think the lack of picks and like any young players at all is somewhat similar to Anthony Davis's situation in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
The difference being, I think you can get a fair amount of guys to come to LA and play for a somewhat below market salary.
Yes, agreed.
Now, I don't think it's like necessarily sustainable, but who cares? Like, you have only a few remaining like elite LeBron James years possible, and the thing that most helps a guy extend his career like this is having like a stud young player around him.
Totally.
Now LeBron doesn't even have to try until April. You know, he can just throw passes.
Right.
He's not going to play defense until the playoffs. Now, I am not sure that LeBron James has the ability to be an elite defender anymore. Even rested, but I think he can be a good defender.
I think he can be an elite defender for a quarter, and I think that's kind of all you need when Anthony Davis is, again, the one protecting the rim behind him.
Yeah. I think LeBron is also going to continue to be an extremely elite offensive player.
Yes.
That is the part of his game where I would, but who's LeBron going to have to lock down? James Harden?
No.
He's not going
They'll
to
get
be able
someone
to
to do that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter. Like he won't like LeBron can't shut down James Harden. He couldn't. It's not it. He's like a free safety. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's. So I wouldn't put the Lakers as, any more than like maybe like a 20 to 25% title likelihood. Like there's a lot of teams that are going to be.
Are you going to pick them to win the West right now?
The thing is, it just doesn't make any sense to bet or make a prediction now without waiting 2 weeks to see what the hell happens to these other teams.
Now, Sean, what if I told you there's a report that the Nuggets passed on trading for Anthony Davis because they didn't want to trade Jamal Murray?
I would say that would be a mistake.
Yeah, because there is. That's what a Nuggets reporter who I can't remember. I can't find the tweet, but that's what the Nuggets reporter is saying.
I kind of think that, look, I believe that, but also the Lakers were in a situation where Anthony Davis is very likely to sign an extension there, and no other team that was trading for him for 1 year. And whereas I'm very into pushing your chips to the center of the table, it worked out great for the Raptors. I do sympathize with not wanting to trade for 1 year of Anthony Davis. If you're not like, okay, the Raptors, when they traded for Kawhi, I think they had a lot of faith in their culture and it being a fun team to play on and people are going to like it. But also, they kind of wanted to get rid of DeMar DeRozan's contract. So that combination made it like such a no-brainer. I don't think the Nuggets are convinced that someone's going to come to that team and fall in love with it.
Fair.
I think they're like realistic about that. Now, it shouldn't be the deal breaker for an Anthony Davis trade, but the fact remains this is a unique situation where a guy was very upfront about where he sees himself playing for the next like 5 to 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not Denver. It was, Los Angeles. I still think the Celtics, if they really like believe in Boston and the magic of that crowd, like all the shit they talk about all the time and how much people love Brad Stevens and was like worth a superstar, then you do trade for Anthony Davis and you feel like you can hold on to him. But maybe their track record of getting Kyrie Irving and running him out of town made them hesitate to be like, hey, we're probably going to do this again. This isn't a white guy. Do you think that maybe came up in their thinking where they're like, Jesus Christ, we might not ever convince anyone else to come here? Yeah, I mean, I kind of think that the Nuggets should have. I mean, look, it's hard when you're having like your best season in a while, but I think teams should have been much more aggressive about Anthony Davis in January.
Yes, me too. Because a season and a half to me is a lot more than you get a lot more time.
Yeah, exactly. And then
if you can get 2 playoffs out of him, it's worth it to me.
Yeah. And also, if it doesn't work out, you can then do exactly what New Orleans just did.
Right.
So, and it's possible that Rich Paul, in being a good agent and defending his player, he wanted him to get engaged to J-Lo, and he made it happen.
Now, Sean, how do you feel about the report that David Griffin didn't even pick up his phone until Rob Pelinka offered 3 first-round draft picks?
It's so badass.
It's so funny.
I fucking love it. But again, it's just like it's just like it's somebody deceiving a rube, and the rube still got the prize, but
Here's the funny thing is New Orleans could have gotten this deal. The Lakers could have gotten this deal out of New Orleans, probably not trading one other pick.
Yeah.
If they did it. If they went all in January, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they should have not made the Pelicans feel like they were getting strong-armed.
Yeah. And
in fact, let them feel like they were getting a lot, which would have been less than this.
Mm-hmm. I think three of the draft things maybe would have gotten it done in Januay.
I feel like you would have avoided the pick
5
swamps for sure. That's almost like mean. I still can't get past the pick swaps as being something that feels like David Griffin maybe somewhat abusing a younger man. Yeah. Can I give you this LeVar Ball quote? We haven't heard from him that much. LeBron banished him, but Joey, do you know where he was when he heard the news?
I do know where he was, but you should tell the listeners.
Okay, he was watching a Drew League game. He was in attendance, one of the early Drew League games, and it was announced over the PA.
Yeah.
Oh, he was watching. LaMelo was playing, right?
It was either LaMelo or the other one,
D'Angelo.
Yeah.
So LeVar gave a quote. He said, "I guarantee, like I say again, it will be the worst move the Lakers ever did in their life, and they will never win another championship. Guarantee it. They're going to regret it. I'm going to have fun with it because I told you all it was crashing down. Now they completely crashed, but at least my son got off the boat before the thing exploded. I gave them a chance. You can rewind and go back. I said if you get the 3 Ball brothers, you can survive this. You let them go. Oh, it's going to be a cold day in hell. Trust and believe that." Joey, do you trust and or believe that?
Normally, I would say no. But what I will say is LeVar did sort of will his son to the Lakers just through speech before.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, he has not willed the shoe company through speech either, though.
Yeah.
Here's a question. Do you
yeah.
think there are less grifters in New Orleans for poor Lonzo and LeVar, right?
I think for sure. This is going to be a protective organization. Would I be surprised if Lonzo got traded? Not that surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they just kept him. I think he's gonna thrive, honestly.
I think he's getting traded.
I mean, he's probably getting traded, but I think if they did not trade him, it's not a bad situation.
But
for him.
also, a team should trade for him. Actually,
Yeah, dude, like,
get him out of LA and as away from his dad as he can. Not that his dad is really a problem, but just like Lonzo needs some time away from the circus and with some coaches that develop young people, unlike what the Lakers have had the last couple of years.
get him a team with a fucking shooting coach. One shooting coach. That's all. Because he already plays pretty good defense. He's just a very entertaining player to watch.
Yeah, Lonzo's great. Again, even if he's just Ricky Rubio, that is not bad. Ricky Rubio rules.
Ricky Rubio is tight. Like Ricky Rubio, a lot of teams have blamed Ricky Rubio for situations where Ricky Rubio was part of the solution, not the problem.
Hey, we got a question in our Poppin' Off Discord, Sean.
Hell yeah.
Comes from Eusebio. Quote, who in the Lakers organization has the monkey's paw and how many wishes do they have left on it?
Ooh. So I think you did. I do think this is the second monkey's paw wish, right? With LeBron being number one.
Also a monkey's paw wish?
Yeah, I feel like maybe the people who had the monkey's paw were. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that one rebounded so hard on them. Getting Dwight Howard knocked them out of the playoffs for 6 years, Joey. It's truly incredible that just having Dwight Howard for 1 year can knock one of the premier franchises in the NBA on their asses for 6. So LeBron is definitely a monkey's paw wish, and I can see the downside of that. Of like, well, he hates all our young players.
I can tell you who has it though.
Yeah,
it's what's that guy's name? God, I can't remember his name now. It's Freddie Prinze Jr. That's who has it right now.
Oh.
Right? He's a huge Lakers fan. He runs a talk radio show on LA sports radio now. That's who I think is making these wishes.
Isn't he doing like Star Wars? His main thing is like Star Wars voices.
Yeah, he does do Star Wars cartoon voices, yeah. But no, he hosts a sports talk radio show in LA, Sean.
So is one of his monkey's paw wishes Sarah Michelle Gellar?
No, one of them was getting a sports talk radio show. So he's got a paw has what, 5 wishes on it?
Five.
So he's got 2 left.
So a sports radio show. Sarah Michelle Gellar is not a monkey's paw.
Jay Moore dies. That's his 4th.
Uh-huh.
And he replaces Jay Moore. That's his 5th.
Oh, he's gonna leave Sarah Michelle Gellar for Jeannie Buss.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. Yeah, I believe it. Does anyone on the Lakers organization have a shadow monkey's paw, Joey?
Of course.
Yeah.
And that is Flea.
Flea, yeah. And his last wish is going to be Frusciante coming back to the band.
Well, no, he unfortunately used 4 of his wishes already to get John Frusciante on and off heroin. So he's only got 1 left.
That's tough. Flea. But luckily, it's only a shadow monkey's paw. So the consequences
it's not a full one.
Yeah. I have a question, Joey. Who is Danny Ainge saving his assets for?
He's gonna say Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the correct answer is Tanner when he dies.
He's just gonna inherit him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, his dad ruined his political career, so
yeah. So at least
he
he could do is give him a Memphis pick.
Uh-huh. What a draft to have 3 mid-tier picks. And in fact, to be a team who has 3 mid-tier picks, but the worse, significantly worse package of 3 mid-tier picks. Like the Hawks also have 3 picks, right?
They have more.
Well, I mean, they have a bunch of second rounders too, but I think they have 3 in the first round. They might have more, I guess.
I think they have more.
It could be more.
I think they have 4 in the first round. Hold on. Right? Didn't they just get one?
They did, but I thought that got them. I mean, they have the Mavs pick, they have the Nets pick, they have their own pick.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
I think they now
Don't
but
they maybe have
also
a Denver pick too
let me see.
for taking on Fareed?
I mean, it sounds okay. So Atlanta is picking 8th, 10th. Okay, then Boston picks 14th. 7, 8, 10, 17.
Don't they have one in like
They
the
have
20s?
they have 35 and 41.
Okay, sorry.
And 44.
My bad, listeners.
Boston is picking 14, 20, and 20. 14, 20, and 22. Oof. Not so good. Brooklyn still has a first-round pick. I didn't realize that. But yeah. That's the Fareed one. I think the regular Nets pick went to Atlanta, and then the Fareed pick they're keeping.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and San Antonio is picking 29. So good return
I'm
from
sure
that Kawhi Leonard
they'll
trade.
get someone good. Look, their backcourt of the future is guys they picked 29, basically. So
It's Derek White and DeJounte Murray.
Yeah.
Get San Antonio, man, they're picking 19 this year.
I know.
Get something. And you know what that is? 3 Boston picks somehow. No, I don't know.
So is there anything else we should cover here?
Oh, Joey, how soon until an Anthony Davis mural goes up?
Oh, there's one going up right now. Now
how
the question is how soon until it gets defaced?
I believe there's somebody driving over to deface it right now.
Yeah, they're putting Kareem's goggles on it.
They're wearing, it's like one guy in a Kobe 8 jersey and another guy in a Kobe 24 jersey.
I think that's our show.
I think it is, yeah.
We're going to come back this week. We know who you want to hear on this trade.
Yeah.
And you're going to get it this week. But they have some other things to say, too. But, Sean, what would you like to plug?
I am going to have a piece. I'm going to have some draft stuff. I have a thing about draft needs that'll be on Yardbarker tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
For stand-up stuff, I'm gonna do a one-off show at the San Francisco Punchline before it closes.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Tuesday, July.
I'm hell yeahing at closing, by the way.
Yeah. No. Just I think it's gonna be me and Alex Cole. I'm not sure who else will be there.
It's a good show already.
Yeah. We'll probably announce it tomorrow when you're listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a month from now. Check it out. It should be really fun. And and Rooster Teeth Feathers second weekend in August.
And then
as
for me, you can always follow me on Twitter at Frankie Muniz. We're on 3:10:15 I tweeted, "Why does it take me drinking half a glass of something before I realize it's gone bad? Mold should be easier to sense. Iced tea goes bad?"
Oh, Frankie.
Sean, what would you like? Did you write a song?
I did. I wrote one about this trade, Joey.
Oh, great. Well, that'll be playing under us right now. Trust the process.
Just a process.
And let's hope this summer is shut it down. Let's hope the summer's as crazy as the first 2 days of the off season have been.
Yeah.
He got too hungry for playing with LeBron. Been a prisoner in New Orleans almost as long as John Valjean. He doesn't mind using Lonzo as a pawn. That's why AD is a tramp. Doesn't like playing for GM Del Demps. Got Jrue Holiday and a roster of temps. Playing with Mo's, Larry's, Curly's, and Chimps. That's why AD is a tramp. Alone in the big easy, taking his licks. No first round picks. Gravis Vasquez, what the hell? Dislikes New Orleans. It's hot and it's damp. That's why AD is a tramp. He has his branding, so he won't shave his brow. Defends like Dwight Howard, but he also can shoot like Powell. Rob Pelinka got him, but he doesn't know how. That's why AD is a tramp. He's gonna lose weight from not eating beignets. 30% from downtown, but he wants to extend his range. Won't go to Boston, doesn't trust Danny Ainge. That's why AD is a tramp. He's going to be a monster in Space Jam. He's in the clutch, fam. Other centers, dunk on them. Only ever beat the Blazers. CJ's shorts got damned. That's why 80. That's why 80. That's why 80 is a tramp. Good night, New Orleans.